गोपाल जय जय साई श्याम। बाल गोपाल जय जय साई श्याम। बाल गोपाल जय जय साई श्याम। बाल गोपाल जय जय साई श्याम। प्रेम भरो दिल में हमारे साई राम। 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 हमारे साई राम बड़े प्यारे 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 साई राम। प्रेम भरो दिल में हमारे साई राम। प्रेम भरो दिल में हमारे साई राम। हम भक्तों के तुम एक 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 साई राम। तुम्हारे जगत में बड़ा प्यारा प्यारा नाम। 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 संग रहो हरदम हमारे साई राम। 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 संग रहो हमारे साई राम। संग रहो हमारे साई राम। सदा संग रहो हमारे साई राम। सदा संग रहो हमारे साई राम। बाल गोपाल जय जय साई श्याम। बाल गोपाल जय जय साई श्याम। प्रेम भरो दिल में हमारे साई राम। प्रेम भरो दिल में हमारे साई राम। हमारे साई राम बड़े प्यारे साई राम। हमारे साई राम बड़े प्यारे साई राम। प्रेम भरो दिल में हमारे साई राम। प्रेम भरो दिल में हमारे साई राम। हम भक्तों के तुम एक साई राम। हम भक्तों के तुम एक साई राम। तुम्हारे जगत में बड़ा प्यारा प्यारा नाम। तुम्हारे जगत में बड़ा प्यारा प्यारा नाम। संग रहो हरदम हमारे साई राम। संग रहो हरदम हमारे साई राम। संग रहो हमारे साई राम। संग रहो हमारे साई राम। सदा संग रहो हमारे साई राम। सदा संग रहो हमारे साई राम। बाल गोपाल जय जय साई श्याम। परम दयालु साई राम। परम दयालु साई राम। हे परम दयालु साई राम। त्रेता युग में दशरथ नंदन,
युग में दशरथ नंदन,
त्रेता युग में दशरथ नंदन,
युग में दशरथ नंदन,
द्वापर युग में मुरली मोहन,
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 कली युग में साई नारायण,
युग में साई नारायण,
कली युग में साई नारायण,
युग में साई नारायण,
एक प्रभु अनेक नाम,
एक प्रभु अनेक नाम,
एक प्रभु अनेक नाम,
एक प्रभु अनेक नाम,
परम दयालु साई राम,
परम दयालु साई राम,
भगवान भगवान
भगवान,
हे परम दयालु साई राम,
परम दयालु साई राम,
त्रेता युग में दशरथ नंदन,
त्रेता युग में दशरथ नंदन,
द्वापर युग में मुरली मोहन,
द्वापर युग में मुरली मोहन,
कली युग में साई नारायण,
युग में साई नारायण,
एक प्रभु अनेक नाम,
एक प्रभु अनेक नाम,
एक प्रभु अनेक नाम,
एक प्रभु अनेक नाम,
परम दयालु साई राम।
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
दीन बंधु साईनाथा, करुणा सिंधु जगन्नाथा,
दीनबन्धु साईनाथा, करुणा सिन्धु जगन्नाथा,
दीन बंधु साईनाथा, करुणा सिंधु जगन्नाथा,
दीनबन्धु साईनाथा, करुणा सिन्धु जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, शिरडी जगन्नाथा, हे परति जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे शिरडी जगन्नाथा, हे परति जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे शिरडी जगन्नाथा, हे परति जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे शिरडी जगन्नाथा, हे परति जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
दीन बंधु साईनाथा, करुणा सिंधु जगन्नाथा,
दीन बंधु साईनाथा, करुणा सिंधु जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे शिरडी जगन्नाथा, हे परति जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे शिरडी जगन्नाथा, हे परति जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे शिरडी जगन्नाथा, हे परति जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे शिरडी जगन्नाथा, हे परति जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा,
हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा, हे साई जगन्नाथा।
साई बाबा प्रणाम,
साई बाबा प्रणाम,
साई बाबा प्रणाम,
साई बाबा प्रणाम,
शिरडी बाबा प्रणाम,
शिरडी बाबा प्रणाम,
शिरडी बाबा प्रणाम,
शिरडी बाबा प्रणाम,
ओ मेरे आत्मा राम,
ओ मेरे आत्मा राम,
ओ मेरे आत्मा राम,
ओ मेरे आत्मा राम,
ले लो मेरे प्रणाम,
ले लो मेरे प्रणाम,
साई ले लो मेरे प्रणाम,
साई ले लो मेरे प्रणाम,
ईश्वर अल्लाह राम,
ईश्वर अल्लाह राम,
ईश्वर अल्लाह राम,
ईश्वर अल्लाह राम,
सबके प्रभु साई राम,
सबके प्रभु साई राम,
सबके प्रभु साई राम,
सबके प्रभु साई राम,
पूर्ण करो मेरे काम,
पूर्ण करो मेरे काम,
पूर्ण करो मेरे काम,
पूर्ण करो मेरे काम,
हे परम शांति प्रिय राम,
हे परम शांति प्रिय राम,
हे परम शांति प्रिय राम,
हे परम शांति
प्रणाम,
ले लो मेरे प्रणाम।
ईश्वर अल्लाह राम,
ईश्वर अल्लाह राम,
सबके प्रभु साईं राम,
सबके प्रभु साईं राम।
पूर्ण करो मेरे काम,
पूर्ण करो मेरे काम।
हे परम शांति प्रिय राम,
हे परम शांति प्रिय राम।
हे परम शांति प्रिय राम,
हे परम शांति प्रिय राम।
साईं बाबा प्रणाम। सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम सबको दीजो,
धर्म शांति प्रेम सबको दीजो।
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम सबको दीजो,
धर्म शांति प्रेम सबको दीजो।
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम स्वरूप आप हैं,
धर्म शांति प्रेम स्वरूप आप हैं।
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम स्वरूप आप हैं,
धर्म शांति प्रेम स्वरूप आप हैं।
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम जीवन का मर्म है,
धर्म शांति प्रेम जीवन का मर्म है।
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम जीवन का मर्म है,
धर्म शांति प्रेम जीवन का मर्म है।
गुरुदेव गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव।
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम सबको दीजो,
धर्म शांति प्रेम सबको दीजो।
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम स्वरूप आप हैं,
धर्म शांति प्रेम स्वरूप आप हैं।
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम जीवन का मर्म है,
धर्म शांति प्रेम जीवन का मर्म है।
गुरुदेव गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव गुरुदेव
गुरुदेव।
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम सबको दीजो।
You can say so and so ritualism is equal to so and so. ऐसा कभी नहीं होता. It's never like that. God is not that, He doesn't calculate only those things. Those are calculated, but not only those things, unless it's from inside, very pure, full of love, and very soulful. So, once this experience is recorded, And it's like our frame of mind, what we call a frame of mind, chit. Okay, like we can say the mind desktop. So if you make a habit of using such beautiful values, small things, which you make the true thing, the real truth, help, love, talk softly, don't get angry. These are things for us, not to exhibit or not to kind of demonstrate. It has to be a habit. You have to make a habit of that. That is the practicality of it.
I think I don't need anything else other than this beautiful assurance from Swami that is always there to take care of me, my family, and not only me, my family, Sai family, and the entire world. Come what may, be it COVID situation, be it any other situation, Swami is there. Yeah, we are being tested. There are challenging situations all of us face at some point or the other. Probably several times Swami has proved that he's always there. So we need to, come out victorious, come what may, because we need to have the faith that he's always, always, always there to guide each one of us. So
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Gananam Tva Ganapati Gum Havamahe Kavim Kavinamupamastravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinvannu Dibissida Sadanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebir Vajanivati Dinama Vitrayavatu Ganeshaya Namaha Saraswatyai Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhurvuvasvaha Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhurvuvasvaha Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat राम कृष्ण प्रभु तू हे राम
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 साई कृष्ण प्रभु तू साई राम
कृष्ण प्रभु तू साई राम
साई कृष्ण प्रभु तू साई राम
साई कृष्ण प्रभु तू साई राम
यीशु पिता प्रभु तू हे राम
यीशु पिता प्रभु तू हे राम
अल्लाह ईश्वर तू अल्लाहु अकबर
अल्लाह ईश्वर तू अल्लाह अकबर
यीशु पिता प्रभु तू हे राम
यीशु पिता प्रभु तू हे राम
अल्लाह ईश्वर तू अल्लाहु अकबर
अल्लाह ईश्वर तू अल्लाह अकबर
शिरडी साई प्रभु तू साई राम
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 राम कृष्ण प्रभु तू Sai Krishna Prabhu Tu, Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Sai Krishna Prabhu Tu, Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Yeshu Pita Prabhu Tu, He Ram, He Ram.
Yeshu Pita Prabhu Tu, He Ram, He Ram.
Allah Ishwar Tu, Allahu Akbar.
Allah Ishwar Tu, Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Yeshu Pita Prabhu Tu, He Ram, He Ram.
Yeshu Pita Prabhu Tu, He Ram, He Ram.
Allah Ishwar Tu, Allahu Akbar.
Allah Ishwar Tu, Allahu Akbar.
Shirdi Sai Prabhu Tu, Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
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 Rama Krishna Prabhu Tu, He Ram, He Ram.
Om Sri Sai Ram. Offering our loving salutations at the Divine Lotus Feet and loving Sai Ram to you all. Today, we were supposed to have Dr. Rajeshwari Patel sharing with us. But as Swami says, love my uncertainty. Due to unprecedented floods in Prashanthi from last 50 years, the entire village is inundated water, as you can see on the video. And the township is without power or internet connections. Hence, we could not have that particular speaker and we had to reschedule that speaker. Nevertheless, we have got equally excited program scheduled for today. Today's program is with the theme, the role and importance of women in family and society. We have divided today's program into two parts. The first one, we have very eminent speaker, Dr. Ali Boorooni, sharing with us. And the second part is we have got our own sisters sharing with us their views on this particular topic. Dr. Ali Boorooni is not new to us at all. He has done many sharings in Hawik Pakaranga Center and also in various regional functions. Dr. Bruni has done his doctorate in the University of Tehran, Iran, majoring in comparative religions and mysticism, women's covering in the Bible and Quran. When we approached him yesterday in the last minute, he very graciously agreed to be part of these celebrations. And we mentioned the topic to him. He said, look at the work of God. He is exactly working on a project in Iran society on the same topic. So he's more than happy to share his wisdom with us on that particular topic. Over to you, Dr. Bruni.
Thank you so much, and I hope that you can hear me all. Hi everyone.
We can hear you.
Good, thank you. I'm really happy that today I'm again with you. And yeah, and I'm just sorry that we missed our honorable lecturer to come and have a lecture for you. When you again ask me about, coming to this meeting, you say that I'm happy to do it because this is the things that all of us, we have to consider the importance role of the women in the society and in the homes and in the families. And this is not a new subject. As I know, there are many seminars, many conferences all around the world to talk about this kind of subject. And there are lots of books, lots of articles nowadays that were written by the famous writers about the importance of the women in the society. And there are some, scientific researches in psychology, in sociology, in all the fields, and especially in the religions and comparative religions, of course, about this subject. As I know, and I just want to share my ideas with you. You know that, sorry, my name is Ali Boorooni, but you can see that is Adam. So I really want the change, and Yogan knows me. So I even changed my name to Adam Brown instead of Ali Boorooni. So because I really need the change and change in everything. So one of the things that I'm thinking always is changing about my thoughts, that I had the thoughts before and now I don't have them anymore. Some of them, they are inherited by my ancestors, and I just want to choose the best of them and keep it for myself, or the things that I like to have. So I just want to give you in this example that changing in the mind or changing in the behavior, this is the things that we really need now. In about the role of the woman and the man, we really need this change of our thoughts, that what is the real role of the woman in the society, in the family. Is it like the traditional rules that our ancestors, our fathers were thinking about, or no, it's changed? And we have to think about the world that we live in, or the world that we just passed it. I think some of the matters that cause ignoring the role of women trace back to the history. Some of them, it comes up from the nature of the religion. Some of them, they're bad interpretation of the verses of the Holy Script. Some of them, they just trace back to the cultures. And some of them is just because some people just follow the ancestors, they follow the fathers. I don't say that following the people who were actually before us is bad. I don't want to say this, but I say that everything that we got from the our religion or our culture, we have adjusted to the modern world that we will live in. Just an example, I will tell you that, for example, if you look at the Zoroastrian, the book of Zoroaster, Avesta, it traced back in 10,000 years ago, or a Torah 5,000 years ago, or the Bible 2,000 years ago. Islam is 1,400 years ago, and the Holy Scripture is just revealed to those prophets in those days. So there are some, just an example, there are some verses in Quran that refers to the role of the woman in a society and in a family. But can we just consider all of them for the role of women that live today after 1,400 years? Or no, we have to have a set of time and says, okay, these verses of Quran just relates to the women who were living at that time, but the women who are living in this time are completely different. There are different things that we think about. And it happens in all the religions. It's not just about Islam. If I read the Bible as a Christian, I can find that there are so many differences between the women that you live in the era of that time of Jesus and now. You know, I just want to say that if we want to find the role and the importance of the role of the women, we have to think about now, not about the past. And we have to consider the woman as now, not in the past. But naturally, I think the word of human doesn't have any gender. So this word of human doesn't show us that this human is man or woman. And if we just keep this word and says that, okay, human is just one essence. So there is no difference between woman and man in anything. But the religion has two roles here. There are some verses that just is about the time of that religion and the time of that prophet. And the second thing is the verses that comes through all the history, and it is not just for a specific time. It comes for any religions. It comes can cover entire the history. And some of them are really good. There are some samples. There are some myths in histories that, if we look at them, we can find the role of the women in the life. Like, for example, you know that in Hinduism we have the Gange river as the mother, or in some African religions they name the earth as the mother. So what does it mean? There are some realities behind it, that it is a very, very great, important role of the woman. But what would happen for the role of women during the history? If you go back to the very ancient civilizations like India, like Persia, like Greek, like Rome, if you read the history, you can find that in many times, in most of the history, the role of women was ignoring. And sometimes they are under pressure, they are under the violence, they are hurting by the others. In some part of this history, you can see that they are like the materials, they are like the slaves. But what should we do now to find the importance of the role of women? I think it is not just a theological. We have to, and it is not a slogan, we have to make something practical. We have to just look at the role of women today and let them have their voice. Unfortunately, as a counselor that I'm working with, I have been working with the families and with women and men about 20 years now. I just tell you that, and you know, in the law of New Zealand, in other countries, if you search it, you can see that more than 80% of the family violences and domestic violences, unfortunately, the victims are women. So why? This is the question, that why we have this kind of things to the women, why we have these violences. Does it relate again to the religious thought of people, or the cultural, or it is about the societies, it's about the politics? So these are many questions that sometimes comes to my mind, that, okay, what is the problem that when I talk to a family, I can find that a woman is a victim, and what is behind it? What is behind these domestic violences? So if we know the role of a woman in a family, we can see that they share the role with husband. It is not just a contract between two people, like, for example, employee and employer. It is just sharing the things together. So my idea is that we have to put equality in practice, and we have to start from ourselves. If we want to really show the importance of the role of the woman in life and in a society, we have to start from our family. And Then we go for the other things. Then we go for the society and we go for the world. But the good point is that nowadays you can see that there are some changes in some interpretations of the religions or in the societies. For example, in some fundamentalist, cults and sects in Islam, they say that woman cannot be a judge. Or in some kind of Christian ideas, is that woman cannot be a priest, or woman cannot be a singer, or woman cannot be something. So why? But little by little, we can see these changes. And we can see that some people, they can adjust their mind to this, that yes, we need some changes in our thoughts. Even if you go to the poems, there are many poems that they are, sorry to say, but I know many poems in Persian from the great people, great poets, but they just insulting women. And why? When you see that, okay, that guy was very important, was very great, but he was living in a society that the nature of the society was put this kind of thoughts in his mind, and he revealed it in the poem. He revealed it in writing. He revealed it in, some kinds of lectures. Now, if you ask me to just have a brief sentence about the importance of the role of women in a life, in a family and in society, I can tell you that men and women have the same role, because life is sharing and caring. So woman and man has the same role in everything. So we cannot separate that these are the roles of men, these are the roles of women. Yes, for example, in our daily life, maybe we share the things. For example, we say that, okay, women just go for example, bring up the children, and men go for work. These are the things that we can arrange it. But can we say, for example, that if a woman work in a kitchen, wash the dishes, handling the things, is it less than the things that men do? Or no, is equal? It doesn't matter that what women do and what men do. My main point is that all the things have the same valuation. So we cannot evaluate man that because men can do these things as a man higher, or because for example, women cannot do these kinds of job. Woman is like has less power than man. No, it doesn't mean. It means that we have some biological limitations. So women have some biological limitations and men have some biological limitations. So we cannot evaluate them. So for everything, we have to just have this, keep this word in our mind, that we are human. We are human, and all the time we think about it. Then I think whenever, as a man, I just want to think about the role of my wife or role of other women in my life, is just I think about the humanity. So humanity is equal to equality. But if I say man and woman, we're not equal, equal to equality. No, are not the same. But human has this meaning behind. Man and woman doesn't have this meaning behind. It's just the name, it's just the titles. But humanity is the real thing, and humanity comes first. So if I'm a religious man, if I'm a cultural man, if my culture from India or from Iran or from Turkey or from Iraq or from Western countries, these are the second things. The first thing, that I'm human, and my wife is human too. So we are sharing the title. This title is neutral. It doesn't show any gender. The second thing, I just want to make it brief. This is the second thing that unfortunately, as I know, the people who wrote the history were men. Women didn't wrote the history. So in some part of the history, they didn't have any role for writing it. And because of this, after while there are some movements like the feminist movement, and they just thought, why it had happened. I don't want to evaluate the movements that like the feminists and other things, but I just want to say that there should be a voice for women in the society. And this is our duty. This is the duty of all people in a society, to give them the opportunity to have their voice. Then we can find that, wow, how much they can do as the president, how much they can do as the priest, how much they can do as the lawyer or a judge or anything. Then we can find. And if I ask you that, how many men do you know during the history, the scientists, men, and how many women do you know? How many saints that they are men, how many saints that they are women? These are the things that I think we have to think about and find out this and keep this reality that God created all people in one essence. Sorry, this is my personal idea, that if someone says to me, if someone tell me that God created man, and after that from some kind of man, it just created woman. No, I think both of them from one essence. God created human. God didn't created man and woman. And because of this biological differences, they got a title that it is man and it is woman, but all are the human. So God created equal, but unfortunately, we separated them. And now this is the time to come back again to the equality. So it is better to come from diversity to the unity again, and consider us as the woman and us as the men and women as the human. Then we can find the importance of them in our life. And at the end, let me tell you that if we have any scientist in the world, like Plato, like the inventors, even like the prophets, so who made them as the prophet? Who made them as the prophecies? Who made them as the good workers? Their mom. But the role of their moms are ignoring here. If they didn't have the good family, and especially the mom, they couldn't be the prophet. They couldn't be the priests. They couldn't be the prophecies. They couldn't be anything. So women are very important, but it shouldn't be just a kind of a slogan. We have to put it in practice, and we come back to the equality again, the things that God created. Thank you so much, and thank you for hearing. Thank you for inviting me to the session.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bruni. I have a couple of questions from the audience. Is it okay for you to ask?
Yep.
I have first question. We know that the problem of women not being treated equally across the world, it is not pertinent to one country or one society. And we know the situation, especially in third world countries, how women are treated. You think education is a panacea for the upliftment of women in society, and we should give the equal opportunity to all the women to study what they want in all the countries?
Yes, exactly. I believe that the opportunities should be equal for all people, like the education, like some social things that they can do. And sometimes you see that they are even do it better than men, but they need this opportunity in all the countries. Unfortunately, sometimes, as I know, the politic would cover everything. So it is some issues are political, some issues and just relates to the culture, and it is I think it's a very we have to go to the depth of the problems that why women don't have these kinds of opportunities in the societies, and especially in the Middle East. I'm from Iran, so I know that they do not have these opportunities after many years that you're struggling with, after many years that you're fighting for have this kind of rights there. So there are some issues, there are some obstacles that as someone who, as I told you, work as a counselor, I asked some of the officials that what's the problem that you do not give this right to, for example, this woman to do something? And I found out that there are some politics behind it. Yes, of course, they have to have the equal opportunities for the education. We cannot separate.
Excellent. So a supplementary question to that, having agreed that yes, education would do that, but as you rightly pointed out, they are prevented from taking the opportunities, either it's because of religious wrong interpretations of the scriptures, what they said about women, which could be pertinent probably during that point of time, but which got generalized, and women always get suppressed from achieving what they want to achieve, if you want to put it in a generic way. So you think that the religious leaders and political leaders should get together to give importance to ladies in society, as we take the other issues where society influences political legislations. The importance of governments to take this on board, is it the time to happen across the globe, as we discuss about the climatic issues, we discuss about nuclear problems, we give a lot of importance to that, including the climatic situation. At the same time, we are not considering as humanity, not as a particular country I'm referring to, as a complete humanity. Is it not right time that we kind of make a legislation kind of thing across the globe to make sure that all the women are given the opportunity? And what can we do to achieve that?
Yes, good question. Yes, I think this is the time, but unfortunately, if you look at the media, you know that the media has a very great role on the thought of people, and especially the next generation. But unfortunately, sometimes when the media wants to highlight the role of women, they highlight it in a wrong way. Like, for example, I told you that in a history, when we see that there in some, for example, ancient time, the woman was like the slaves, they were like the material, they were sold and bought by people. But what's happening now in the media? For everything there are some ads, there are everything that they just use women for showing something. And I think this is not this is not showing the importance of the role of women. The importance of the the role of women, if we want to work on it, we have to, as you say, come together. And I mean the religious, and especially the religious leaders, they have to come together and talk about these things, because they have some kind of authority on people. They have some kinds of word with people that they can accept, and as politicians as well. But my idea, and it happens sometimes, but unfortunately it was not successful to all the religious people. They just come, the clergies, the priests, the monks, all of them, they come at a table and talk about these things, that what should we do? How can we interpret the Holy Scripture and adjust it to the modern world, not to the time of the revelation? Like, for example, look at Quran. There are some verses that is about women, but if you want to use these verses nowadays, it's like kind of insulting to women. Maybe it was good at that time, but can I use this for a woman role now? I cannot. So how can I interpret it? I can interpret it in two ways. As a fundamental, I can say that, okay, no, we have to stick on it, and doesn't matter that the time's gone and the Islam comes back 1,400 years ago. This is the one way. So there is no way. It is just one way. The second one, so there's no way for discussion. But the second one, if I, as a Muslim, I say that, okay, let's look at the verse of Holy Scripture and adjust it to the modern world. It doesn't mean that I do not believe on Quran anymore. No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that I do not respect Quran anymore, or I do not respect Bible as a Christian, or a Torah as a Jew. It doesn't mean that. It means that I am the man of now, and I know the woman of now. So I can have another interpretation. So I can do it, but I think it is the duty of the scholars, religious scholars, to come together. And exactly, you are right. This is the time that we need it. Why? Because our next generation are not like us. They do not think like us. So if we do not prepare this ground for them to think in a right way, what will happen in the future for them? And what some kind of different and sometimes wrong notions that media will give them, what will happen? So I think this is our duty to send it to our next generation. As we get it as an inheritance from our fathers, we have to change it and give it to the next generation.
Excellent. I think that is very, very practical approach. I think I'm just getting one more question as I am receiving it. Probably what you're referring to has, I think, already happened in the history. I remember studying in early 20th century. We used to have Congress of Religions, World Congress of Religions, where different religions across the globe used to, conglomerate in America or somewhere and discuss about the world problems with the perspective of each religion, find solutions. Probably with this modern approach, I think, it's the time that all the religious leaders should drive towards those kind of approach. The other question I have is, how can we implement gender equality in spiritual and religious organizations? Very similar related questions. Does he have any real, do you have any real examples of how organizations have done it before or currently doing it?
Okay. Yes, I know that there were many conferences in the past, and now we have some conferences. I mean the interfaith conferences that talk about the role of the woman and importance of the role of them in a society. But my idea is that, okay, if we have a conference and there are some outcomes, how can we make these outcomes practical? It's not just lecturing, it's not just coming together and have a day with talking about these things and say goodbye. It is not like this. There should be some organizations that follow up the outcomes. So I do not know some organizations that after the seminars, after the conferences, after this gathering of the religions, they come together and says, okay, so let's make it practical. As I know, there are, as I told you, I don't know any a specific organization to do it, but I know that there are some movement in the religions, some movement in kind of even the sex or cults, Like, for example, let me tell you, in Islam, Shia and Sunni, there are many differences between them, but there are some, little by little, there are some changes in their thoughts about women, and they can be close not the fundamentalists, the people who think in a modern thinking, they can be close together. So I don't know a specific organization, but I know some movement and some people that they talked about this equality and they wanted to do it. Actually, I watched some of the lectures of Sai Baba, and I was watching on the YouTube the people who came to the sessions. They are from different countries, and they were mixed. They were mixed, the woman and man. They were very friendly, sitting together, listening to the lectures. And after that, there was a very calm, peaceful environment there. I could feel it when I watched the films. Then I watched the other films from other religious people in the world. I mean, some religious leaders, and I found that, yes, there is good things here. There is a good source here that people can refer. These are the movements, but I do not know, because maybe, this is my ignorance, that I do not know the organization that follow up the things. I just see the gatherings, but I couldn't find anything on YouTube, an organization or in a world that says like, okay, we want to put it in practice.
Yeah, thank you. I can understand, because it's an elephant in the room which nobody wants to recognize.
Yes.
No, it exists in every organization, everywhere, but they don't want to say that it exists.
Yeah.
Hence that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your
You're
time
welcome.
and sharing today. Even if you have given short notice, but you're kind enough to accept our invitation and address us on this auspicious day for us. Thank you so much. We would love to hear you once again at the earliest possible time.
Thank you so much. It was my honor, and thank you so much. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Now we come to the second part of our program. We have our lovely sisters, knowledgeable sisters, wise sisters, sharing their wisdom on the same topic, where I try to ask them some questions and they try to answer them, addressing this. Today's panel, we have got 6 people. We have Dr. Anju Yogakumar. Everybody knows her. She's a practicing doctor in East Tamaki Healthcare. And we have got Sister Vardhini. Sister Vardhini studied in Swami's College in Anantapur, and she has been working in education institute in New Zealand. She's an SSC teacher. By profession, she's a teacher. Then we have got Vaishali, an young adult, youngest member of the panel. She studied in the University of Auckland, and currently she works in primary mental health. We have got Sister Kokila. She came to Swami's fold in 1996, and by profession is an IT operations manager. Then we have got Sister Nidhi. Sister Nidhi completed her Ph.D. in University of Auckland last year, and currently she's a teacher at the School of Urban Planning and Architectural. And we have Rupa. Rupa studied in Swami's school in Puttaparthi for her primary education. Then she went on to join Swami's University in Anantapur campus, and she completed her graduation and continued on. And she works as a branch manager for profession. So let's get into the panel discussion. Let's start with the youngest member of the panel, Vaishali. Vaishali, you are relatively new to Swami's fold. Probably about 18 months ago, or maybe maximum 2 years ago, you started attending Havik Pakuranga Center, and you have been really active in the center, practicing a lot of activities. What I want to ask you is, you have lived a long life before getting to Swami's fold, and what difference do you see the way you are able to tackle your day-to-day problems, or the way you are able to live your life with Swami's teachings, and how difficult they were or how easy they were without Swami's teachings before you got into the fold?
Loving Saram, Uncle, and everyone. My name is Vaishali, and thank you, Uncle, for that question. Uncle, I always had God in my life. As I was born in a Hindu family, for which I would really like to thank my parents for introducing me to the supreme power, this God. Many of us would relate. There are many pressures when you are born in an Indian household, especially for girls. You need to put your full efforts in studies. You need to constantly acquire the best numbers in your exams. You have to get the best degree. It should be nothing less than a doctor or an engineer. You have to constantly have good grades so that you can get into the university. So no one prepares us for the universe. Our parents and our people around us are constantly preparing us for university. And that's when I looked for something that was more meaningful for me. I wanted to really look out for a guru, someone who would guide me through this. I did not, as you mentioned, I did not know of Swami until a friend had introduced me to him, which was towards the end of 2018. That's when Swami graciously drew me into his fold. Undoubtedly, it was his divine calling, which led me to him, all in his perfect timings. At that time, I had completed my education. I had a stable job. I had ticked all the boxes that were required of me as a daughter of my parents. You know, once you've done this, then you can do whatever you want to do. But what I was constantly seeking was inner happiness and peace. I had all these skills. I had all this enthusiasm. But there was nowhere to replicate it. There was nowhere to put my enthusiasm forward. All these skills I had. So just getting to know Swami and being part of his organization has given a structure to myself, has given structure to my faith, and has helped me in every aspect of my life. And as I constantly was yearning for Swami, and constantly as I get to know Swami, I started going to Thursday devotional singing. And one day, the members in the center saw me, and he knew that there was a new devotee to Swami, and he came to me and he shared a beautiful quote with me, and that quote mainly made me realize, really inspired that quote. He said to me that Swami doesn't want us. Swami wants us to excel in whatever we have. If you're a Hindu, Swami wants you to be the best version of being a Hindu. If you're a Muslim, Swami wants you to be the best version of being a Muslim. If you're a Christian, he wants you to be the best version of being a Christian. And that's when I knew that he is my guru. You know, I have found my guru because only a guru can embrace all the religions, and he can teach us unity of faith and show us that we can just provide love. With love, we can embrace everyone. And as I was part of the organization as a young adult, I got really interested in Swami's activities in the organization with a special interest in service activities. While I was doing and leading these service activities, Swami puts you through these constant tests. He will really, really put you through some challenges till you actually he churns you so that you become this really smooth butter. I'll share an incident where we, as young adults, every month do a service activity, which is called as Kai from Sai. It's so the Narayan Seva. And there was this one day we had Kai from Sai service to attend. And that day we had only 4 people who were able to make it. So in that activity, we had to cook for 200 people, and a lot of people had committed for the activity, but at the end moment, they had pulled out and they couldn't make it for whatever reason. I got really upset I got annoyed, I felt helpless, but I knew in the situation, we just had to move on. Soon as we started cooking, we were 4 of us and we multiplied to become 14. And there was a parallel activity that was happening in the hall, and people started coming from everywhere and supporting us. And on that day, I realized Swami's message of total surrender. I understood what he means by total surrender. In situations like these, it's really hard to see Swami in others. And we are constantly wanting God to respond as soon as he can. We always feel, why is God not responding? I need Swami, I'm doing this in your name. Why are you not responding constantly? Why are you not responding quickly? And this whole scenario taught me everything happens as per Swami's divine timing. His delay are not his denials, but are his ways of strengthening our faith in him. That day I realized that anything that you do with love, do with sincerity, and you do under his name. He will never fail you. He will never fail you. And that's what I take back to my work as well. Whenever I'm starting a project, whenever I'm doing something, whenever I'm talking to a patient, I just surrender to Swami and I say, Swami, you are in control. You have to lead me through this. And we don't have answers to everything. But I just feel when I surrender to Swami, he just makes things happen for me. So being a leader in the organization is quite it's quite challenging, and it's also there's a great opportunity. Being a leader opens up having numerous opportunity, but also opens up so many vulnerabilities. So when you're not a leader, the sadhana is just between you and God. But when you are a leader, it's you, God, and there are people in between. And it's hard to, it's hard to show that love every time towards people, because that will lead you towards God. So yeah, the process of leading and being in the organization and doing service activities, working on projects, I have realized that every question in life, every question that I have in life, in this journey of life, whether it's my personal journey, whether it's my professional journey, or whether it's my journey with Sai, Swami has all the answers. And he has given all the answers in his Sai literature, whether it's through his stories, whether it's through his analogies. Swami has provided clear guidance on how to totally tackle day-to-day challenges and how to best embody his message in our day-to-day lives. Also, a constant reflection, just being in Swami's fold has given me an opportunity to constantly reflect on myself, which means I no more blame people for a situation. Why did this happen? Why did you do this? But also constantly, digging deep into myself, thinking of what could have I done better in this situation? How could have I handled the situation better? And lastly, my message is that with Swami being my guru, I might not be able to fix everything that comes in my way, but I have the ability to work on myself, that whatever may come, I will be fine. He will look after me. There's this huge bubble that I have around me, I know, that is constantly protecting me. No matter what comes, I know I'll get through it. So that's how I have really transformed myself in being in Swami's organization. I know the Guru is there, the God is there, the best friend is there. He's going to lead me through this.
Thank you, Vanshali. That is really good. It's a good message to the younger adults, know how to take up the Swami's teachings. We'll go to Sister Anju next. I would read out a Swami's quote on a Ladies' Day first before I ask her a question. From ancient times, the feminine aspect of the divine has been worshipped in various ways. Vedas declare that where women are honored and esteemed, their divinity is present with its potency. Unfortunately, today men consider it demeaning to honor women. This is utterly wrong and is a sign of ignorance. Stree, woman, is Grihalakshmi, goddess of prosperity for the home. She is hailed as Dharmapatni, the virtuous spouse. She is called Illalu and Ardhangi, better off. People gloat over petty titles conferred on them, but women have been conferred the highest titles which are valid for all time. A home without a woman is a jungle. Men should realize the high status of women and honor and respect them accordingly. They should not make women weep and shed tears. A home where the women shed tears will be ruined. Men should give an honorable place for women and lead a respectable life. This is from Divine Discourse, 19th November 1995, which is a Ladies' Day celebration again. So, Sister Minju, I think we need to accept the fact that even though in the developed countries like New Zealand, we still have faced that problem. So when you have this kind of problem, how does Swami's teachings help you to face everyday challenges at work with this kind of treatment, if at all you face?
Jai Sai Ram. Can you all hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sai Ram to one and all, to my beautiful brothers and sisters. First of all, I thank the Global Council for giving me this opportunity to join in this panel today on the Ladies' Day. So the question that has been asked is how Swami has come to my rescue when caring for my patients as a medical professional. I thought I'll just start a little bit with how I came into Swami and how it unfolded into Swami's thing. I was introduced to Swami's world from the age of 8 in Sri Lanka, where I was born. Life's challenges increased in my childhood, from losing my parents to losing all my material possessings. And I moved to New Zealand at the age of 16. At that time, I left. My loving grandfather's only request was that I study hard, become a doctor, and serve the poor. I didn't realize at that stage that my loving Swami's instruction for me is that through my grandfather. With lots of hard work and with Swami's grace, he helped me to get into the Auckland Medical School in 1986. As I started working as a doctor, my first dissatisfaction with Western medicine was when patients started asking me, why do I have this problem? Why me? Why did it happen? My 6 years of medical teachings could not answer that question. I had to go inwards and seek my spiritual teacher for the answers. Sometimes I will feel like I'm talking to patients. The patients' face get delighted with my communication and they're happy with me. But I myself wonder, what have I said? I always feel that there is an energy within me that is taking over me, especially in situations when there is no treatments or solutions to the problems, especially chronic conditions and cancer. I have Swami's photo in the form of calendar that is situated above the position of the chair where my patients sit. As I talk to patients, I look at Swami's photo too, which helps me to see every patient I see as Swami or God. I like to give an incident when I was a 6th year, final year student, and I was assisting a cardiac heart valve operation with a very well-known cardiac surgeon in New Zealand. The patient was a 19-year-old Pacific Island girl. So the surgeon was very confident that all will go well. The operation finished at Green Lane Hospital. And at the end, they were giving the medication to restart the heart to pump. But the heart would not start. First 10 minutes, all the anesthetists, the surgeon, everyone are giving the medications. But as the time went on, everyone in the theater started panicking and sweating because that girl's heart wouldn't pump. The surgeon's face started drooping, and he looked like he was going to cry. Finally, they gave up and pronounced the patient as dead. And he told the junior registrars to close off her chest wall with suturing. I was standing there as a final year student, and I started praying to Swami intensely as I pre-admitted this patient before the surgery and knew the girl's family well enough. Surgeon told me to go and bring the family who are waiting outside the theater anxiously to know how the operation went on. I was very scared and tremoring to go even closer to the family. I cried inside me, Swami, Swami, how can you do this to me? Please, Swami, she's only 19. Whatever the reason you wanted to take her away, please bring her back, Swami. I was muttering like this and went and called the family to come into the meeting room where surgeon was sitting with his head down. I left the family in the room and went back into the theater praying hard. Swami, please do a miracle. I couldn't believe what I saw when I went in. The body that was pronounced dead 15 minutes ago, when the registrar was suturing his last stitches in the chest, the heart started pumping vigorously again. The doctor started to remove the sutures, and I rushed to the family room and told the surgeon, can you please come? When I told him what happened, he couldn't believe what I told him. The best cardiothoracic surgeon in New Zealand told me that day, this has never happened to him in his entire career. He can't explain what happened scientifically. That day, Swami taught me, when I heartfully pray to him for any patients that I care and surrender all to him, he will take over and do the best for me. To consolidate what happened in the theater that day, in 1991, 4 years later, a 23-year-old Pacific Island girl presents to me for a different issue in my general practice. At the end of her consultation, she asked me, who is that man, pointing to the picture in that calendar? I didn't want to tell a full history of Swami. Surprised with her sudden question, I asked her, why do you ask? Her answer stunned me and took me back to 4 years ago, what happened in the theater. She said, this man came when I was having the heart operation 4 years ago and helped me. Since then, I haven't seen him, and only today I'm seeing the photo. So that's what I'm asking you, doctor. For a Pacific Island girl from Otara, from nowhere to come into my practice in the room and ask this question, I will leave it to you, brothers and sisters, what you want to make out of it. As my work experience increased, there were times I will forget Swami and carry on my work as though I am doing it. Swami will give me few doses here and there to remind me, without me, you are zero, my dear, which will bring me back to my reality. There are many incidences I can relate to where Swami has come and rescued me from treating severe asthmatic obese patients whom I couldn't put the drip in to save them, or to diagnosing heart attack patients in time and sending them to hospital to save them. Without Swami's sixth sense functioning inside me, I would have had lots of complaints from the health and disability of New Zealand. We all know that New Zealand being a Western developed country, the complaints against doctors are very high. I'm proud to say my Swami has actually saved me from no complaints so far. Swami, being a good wife, mother, to 2 children, taking care of everything at home, and working 6 days a week, looking after my patients in a poor area of Auckland with lots of language and cultural barriers has not been an easy task for me. But with your pure love, blessings in my heart, you walking with me, holding my hands 24 hours, you have made that journey possible. Please hold on to us, all ladies. Swami, thank you.
Oh, Sister Angela, that was a great answer. In fact, you substantiated your answer with the beautiful incident. Swami showed you in very early stages of your career, so that your career's foundation is laid very strong. Thank you so much for your contribution. You ended your response with balancing work and family. So my next question I would go is for that, which I would like to ask Sister Kokila. I have been seeing her being so busy for the last few days, doing the organizational work, managing the family, and doing her work at the same time. So Sister Kokila, how does Swami's teachings and how does Swami's presence in your life help you to effectively balance all these three? Does it make any difference knowing Swami to do it successfully?
Sai Ram. And once again, a very happy Ladies' Day to every lady here, and also a lady in our men, because remember, the speaker just told us that we are all humans. So there is no differentiation of ladies and men here. So we are all one. And wish you all a very happy Ladies' Day. Thank you, Mahesh Bhaiya, for that question. Yes, if I take the doership of what I am doing, it is challenging. At times, because we are all human at a very low level, I can't help but say that I am doing it. But that's when Swami's message really gets right in there, saying that, like Sister Anju just explained in her experience, we are not the doers. He is the doer. He gives us the strength, as Vaishali indicated in her sharing as well, that at the end of the day, so long as we know that he is the master behind all of this, it makes it easy. So while we carry on with our professional work, there are challenges, but every time I hit a challenge, I simply go quiet within me to make sure that Swami within me is telling me that you are not the doer. You are not the doer. You talk to your inside. I am within you. Just go on, surrender it to me. It's okay. It will be okay. And when I come to my family life, fortunately, I have a small family, an understanding family. It makes it easy because when both of us are on the same path, it's easy to walk through the path. And you get support from your partner as well. So my husband supports me very well because both of us are in the organization. Once again, so long as I have done my duties of the home, having meal ready, making the house is in order, and then carry on with my duties, Swami within me is telling me that you've done your duties, you carry on with your activities, leave the rest to me. It's okay. So I kind of very consciously keep on repeating to myself that it's okay. Whatever happens, it's okay. So I don't focus on anything negative at all. And coming to the organizational activities, yes, it has been a very busy month, but we all do it with so much love for Swami. At the end of the day, he is the doer. We are doing it for him. So it makes it even more enthusiastic for us to do what we want to do. And when we have the energy that is within, he will make it easy for us. So constantly keeping Swami in my mind that it is for you that I'm doing. It's he who is doing it through me. And it's for those Even the Swami is within all of us. It's very difficult to see the God in all, but constantly telling myself that there is a divinity in everyone and we're just doing it for them, it makes it easy. And the key word for me from Swami is patience. I really, really embark on that, because once I sit back and think patiently, work happens automatically. The second key message that really comes to my mind is no matter what, be happy. And I really try and at my best will be happy in whatever I do. That comes with the statement saying that it's okay. Whatever happens, be it pandemic, there is a reason that I don't know what it is for. So why am I harping about it? It's okay. Then there is all this, I hear, even seeing Prashanthi, the video that you showed earlier, Prashanthi, I've never seen Puttaparthi in that state. But suddenly that word came to me, it's okay. Why am I worried about it? It's his play. He knows what he's doing. So it's okay. So for me, these three things, being patient, being happy, and whatever happens in my professional, family, and now the organizational work, the word it's okay really resonates with me. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Oh, that was great, Koki. You well summarized by saying that we are not the doers, it's Swami. But still, Swami says always we have to put our 100% and leave the result to him, which I'm sure all of us are doing. Probably I'll ask the same question to Nidhi, because she's another office bearer who has been juggling all the balls very successfully. Over to you, Sister Nidhi.
Sairam to all Sai sisters and brothers. Yes, like a lot of women who have to face this fine balancing act on an everyday basis, I also have to juggle my time between different responsibilities. I'm a mother of 2 young school-going children. I have some work commitments, some science spiritual activities to attend. And of course, there is always home that needs to be organized. So I adjusted a few priorities around my life early on. After my firstborn, I took a decision to take a clean break from the career to look after the children, and I enjoyed raising them till my younger one was almost ready to go back to school, After that, for a good 4 to 5 years, I somehow managed to keep the balance between raising a 4 and 6-year-old, home duties, and my doctoral studies. During my PhD research, I quite often argued with Swami, saying that you always say women are Griha Lakshmis first, and they should realize that their first obligation is towards home, irrespective of the position or the education they hold. So please let me not have to worry about monetary contributions on top of what I'm already committed to. Even now, looking at life from a practical spirituality point of view, of a busy homemaker, mother, and an educationist, there are some key decisions I made in life, and so far they seem to be working quite well. Firstly, I made myself my priority. If the woman of the house is mentally, physically, spiritually self-nourishing and organized, then the rest of the home gets on track fairly easily. We women quite often ignore our own well-being. So I have decided to keep my overall health under check, whether it means going for walks, meditation, bhajan singing, painting, anything that charges me up without compromising my role at home, which I will confess requires a lot of discipline and organization. So a lot of my work happens when the children are either sleeping or are at school. Even nowadays, when they are at home, it is my constant effort to maintain some kind of rhythm in their routine. So time management becomes totally vital, which Swami has always emphasized on. I have personally given up watching television a few years ago, and I'm not very active on social media either. So I guess that saves a little bit of time. Having said that, I still keep in touch a little bit and update myself through selective YouTube programs. The second key decision I made, and Swami has been kind so far, is to not work all 5 days of the week, so that I can still do my school pickups for children, after school activities, and so on. I choose my days and subjects as per my area of interest. And that way I'm able to thoroughly enjoy whenever I engage with students at the university as well. And I think with COVID, we all have now realized that in some ways we have made our lives unnecessarily busy. The amount of time we used to spend traveling, engaging in activities outside, now so much can be done from home. So most of our busyness can actually be a self-imposed restriction if we really look at that way. And finally, I would like to say that women as a collective have to realize that our value is not determined by the money we earn. Real education is how we apply our inner confidence to deal with life on an everyday basis. Our ability to multitask and our ability to keep our faith in Swami alive, which is the basis of the spiritual strength. That is our real worth. And that lends strength to our families as well. So the question we must ask ourselves frequently is, where does my real priority lie? Whether working or not, I'm sure between being a homemaker, Sai activities, children's priorities, community volunteering, I will always have enough to keep myself busy. Sairam.
Oh, thank you, Nidhi. I think that was very, very practical tips, which sound very easy, but you need a lot of discipline to practice them. Okay, now we'll move to the ex-students of Swami. And my question is based on my personal experience, which I face. So I want to know how they respond. Is that it's always quite comforting and quite strengthening to have Swami's teachings with us and to practice them. But when we step out of that ideal environment and get into the outside world, when we get into our jobs and professions, sometimes following Swami's teachings becomes a real obstacle, right? It creates kind of conflict within us, whether we have to practice Swami's teachings or whether we should fulfill our responsibilities by ignoring them, which we don't want to, but it's a constant conflict that keeps going on with us. So how do you people, you two of you, manage this particular problem? First, let's go with Sai Rupa. Rupa, unmute yourself. Thank you.
Om Sairam. Loving Sairam to all sisters and brothers. And yes, I'm extremely grateful to Bhagwan for this beautiful rebirth as a woman. And I'm really enjoying this birth being a woman. Staying with Swami for more than 20 years in Parthi, spending time more than 20 years in Puttaparthi and getting married there, being in Parthi for a long, long time. And once you come back to the real world here, it was initially quite challenging because the kind of expectations everybody had, I had to keep up and then make sure I show myself as Swami's student. I'm extremely grateful to Bhagwan for giving me this beautiful opportunity to be there with him while he is around and giving me, blessing me with the education. And also most importantly, for so many years, he has given a great foundation of values because each time Bhagwan visited school or Anantapur College, the only point was values, values, and values. Bhagwan insisted so much on character building that every moment, especially with the girls, he was extremely careful. He taught us right from the basic things, how to behave with the mother, how to behave with the husband, how to behave when children are around, how to behave at college, with the masters, with the tutors. So every moment Bhagwan guided us so much and he instilled those values within us. So this foundation, thankfully, this foundation has helped me a lot because today, along with my husband, the only thing I tell my children is, we can just give you education, we can give you values. So what you do with those values is up to you. So this is what we teach. All that we can give up to our children is just values. And coming to work, yes, all of us, like how Sister Nidhi, Sister Kokila, Vaishali, Anju Akka, everybody mentioned, All of us have struggles, all of us have dreams, we have failures, we have frustrations. So dealing with the staff, dealing with co-workers, like it's really, really hectic each day. But the kind of practice which I personally do is I drive each message of mine to all of them. I do it, I give it, I send a message with love. So sometimes, yes, I definitely win. Sometimes what happens is I learn a lesson about patience, about perseverance, about resilience. So I win all the time. Either I get a lesson or I get the message through with love. So this is the basic practice that I undertake. Thank you.
Oh, that's just practicing one teaching of Swami, love all sarva. That's great, Rupa.
And because also I do a small, I don't call it a service activity, but I deal with a lot of customers every single day in Ottara. So what I have started is talking to the young girls who are getting addicted to unnecessary things. So I sit down with them, talk to them, I take them out. I try to, instill a little bit of values into them so that each of them can stand on their legs and so stand on their feet and then, proudly become independent so that they can lead their own lives. And I always tell those girls that what you can pass on to your children is just these values. So small little contribution, because I have taken so much from Swami. Swami has blessed me with so much of it's abundance. I just have no words to say how grateful I am to Swami. So some kind of purpose that I have in life that I live for is whatever little I can contribute towards the society. Saira.
Thank you, Rupa. Sister Vardhini, can you please share your experience on the same question?
Saira, I'm really grateful for this opportunity to share my thoughts. Again, I'm really grateful that Swami has drawn me into his fold. As Sister Rupa said, he's given us such strong foundations. Studying in Swami's college, like those values were really instilled into us. Knowing Swami and knowing Swami's teachings has really helped me to face challenges in life and given me a purpose in life. I think that is, it's just redefined my life. And it's helped me in my personal and my professional life. All Swami's teachings are so practical that it can be applied in my personal life and in professional life and working with children. It's been very helpful. Coming back to the question, like how do we deal with conflicts and values? Over the years, I've come to understand that it's very important to accept people as they are. I constantly remind myself that people are on their own spiritual journey. Everyone takes time to come to realize the values, have come into a space where they give importance to values. So I think being more accepting of others and not being judgmental has really helped me. And I constantly remind myself that whatever happens is for my good. Like as Sister Koki said, like she had her phrase, it's okay. So I tell myself, idina manchi kosrame. Even in our online study circle, we keep discussing like it's how important it is to surrender everything to Swami and keep reminding ourselves that everything happens for our good, because we have no control over people or situations. Only thing we have control over is our own response to situations. I think that's what I try and focus on. Sometimes at work, when there are conflicting values, instead of focusing on the difference, I try and focus on what I can do to be a part of the solution and how best I can practice Swami's values at work. So I'm just reminded of an incident which I listened on Radio Sai. It was shared by Dr. Sundar Iyer. When they had to go home for school holidays and they asked Swami, what can we do for you? Can we go and talk about you in the centers, or can we do service project? Swami told them, I want you all to be street lambs, not street dogs. So I try and remind myself of that. So best thing which I can do is practice Swami's teaching and be a good role model wherever I am. So I don't have to worry about changing people and situations, because that's not going to happen. The best I can do is to be a good role model and practice Swami's teachings wherever I am. I think that's really helped me to reducing my expectations and increasing my acceptance of everyone and not being judgmental has really helped me to face situations and has avoided conflict at work and at home. Saira.
Thank you, Vardhini. I think that's what Swami always even told us, the boy student, that we need to have two things very important in life to remain happy and peaceful. One is acceptance, that able to accept in life whatever comes through. The second is gratitude, to be grateful to God for all that you have in life. Express your gratitude, accept the things that come in your way. I think you very beautifully summarized that in your answer. I didn't realize that we have, spent almost 90 minutes and still, that was fantastic. We can't sit here forever, so we need to conclude. So probably I would request you, I had a second round of questions, but I can't ask you because there's time, shortage of time. So can I request each one of you just to summarize a take-home lesson in just 1 minute, please, so that we'll be able to conclude the program, not as per schedule, at least close to the scheduled time. Maybe we'll start with Vaishali again.
Uncle. Yeah, my take-home message is we all are equal beings living in this human race, and we are all streaming for love. And men and women share equal roles in the society. And lastly, be strong and spread love. That's my take-home message.
Thank you. Sister Anju.
Yes, Sairam, yeah. No, it was really lovely to hear all the other sisters speaking too. So thank you. So my take-home message is like Mahesh, what you said, to accept everything that comes on our way, say it's okay, it's for our own good, and just to have faith in Swami, surrender everything to him, and to be happy. Saira.
Thank you. Rupa?
For me, it is religion is only a way of life. What matters is basically the value system, which is universal, as Swami says. So let us all live to Swami's values as our gratitude to him and fulfill our small role that we are here for. That's my message.
Thank you. Let's go to Koki.
Ram, I'm sure we could sit here and keep listening to these wonderful experiences by all the other ladies, and maybe yours too, Bhaiya. We could listen to you as well. Due to time constraint, the take-home message for me is very simple. Love, 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 and be happy. I mean, we don't have to do anything. It's all internal. It's in us. It's within each one of us. Very simple message of Swami. It's okay. Just love and be happy. Saira.
Thank you. Sister Vardhini?
For me, it is change in mind and behavior is really important. That's what Dr. Ali stressed in the first part of his talk. I think it is very important to practice whatever we've known. So be a good example and practice Swami's teaching wherever you are.
Thank you. Sister Nidhi?
Sairam. I think listening to Dr. Boorooni, I realized that women have the same set of challenges all over the world, no matter what cultural background. We contribute our whole being to the homes, family, and community. So we should be really proud of ourselves. And with the support, respect, and encouragement of men, as Swami says, Shiva Swarupa, Shakti Swarupa can really raise virtuous children in the society. Sairam.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for your very valuable contribution. We have to go ahead with the program. So next we'll have bhajan, then we'll have Sarvadharma prayer, and we'll conclude the program with Aarti. Thank you all so much. Sairam.
Oh Mother, oh Mother Saima, you mean the whole world to me, Saima.
Mother, oh Mother Saima, you mean the whole world to me, Saima.
Mother, oh Mother Saima, you are the light of my life, Saima.
Mother, oh Mother Saima, you are the light of my life, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
Oh ma, Saima.
In times of trouble and despair, I call your name, you're always there.
In times of trouble and despair, I call your name, you're always there.
In times of trouble and despair, I call your name and you're there, Saima.
Times of trouble and despair, I call your name and you're there, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
How can I thank you, oh dear Saima, for all your patience and love, Saima.
How can I thank you, oh dear Saima, for all your patience and love, Saima.
How can I thank you, oh dear Saima, for all your patience and love, Saima.
How can I thank you, oh dear Saima, for all your patience and love, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
Mother, oh Mother Saima, you mean the whole world to me, Saima.
Mother, oh Mother Saima, you mean the whole world to me, Saima.
Mother, oh Mother Saima, you are the light of my life, Saima.
Mother, oh Mother Saima, you are the light of my life, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
Ma, oh ma, Saima.
In times of trouble and despair, I call your name and you're there, Saima.
Times of trouble and despair, I call your name and you're there, Sai Ma.
Ma oh ma, ma Sai Ma.
Ma oh ma, ma Sai Ma.
How can I thank you, oh dear Sai Ma, for all your patience and love, Sai Ma?
How can I thank you, oh dear Sai Ma, for all your patience and love, Sai Ma.
Ma oh ma, ma Sai Ma.
Ma oh ma, ma Sai Ma.
Ma oh ma, ma Sai Ma.
Oh ma, ma Sai Ma.
Mother, oh Mother Sai Ma, you mean the whole world to me, Sai Ma. Om Tat Sat Shri Narayana Tu Purushottama Guru Tu Sita Bhuta Tu Skanda Vinayak Savita Pavak Tu Savita Pavak Tu Brahmamasya Tu Yavashakti Tu Ishubhita Prabhu Tu Rudra Vishnu Tu Rama Krishna Tu Rahimata Tu Rahimata Tu Vasudeva Ko Vishwarupa Tu Chitananda Hari Tu Advitiya Tu Akala Nirbhaya Atmalinga Shiva Tu Atmalinga Shiva Tu Paramatmalinga Shiva Tu.
ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपदान्धवा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे मातपिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयु नीवे स्वामी मरियन्तयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्रशयन ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी हो साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगला सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ